Hello, it's Dr. Henry. In this video, we're going to be looking at writing ionic names from ionic formulas. And we're going to be looking, or specifically focusing on formulas with polyatomic ions. Now, one of the really important things to be able to do is you have to be able to look at a formula and know that it contains a polyatomic ion. So remember, let's look at this for an example. So the first element is always going to be your positive ion. And it's in an ionic formula, it is always going to be a metal. The one exception to that is ammonium right here, NH4. So it's either going to start with a metal or ammonium, and that's it if it's ionic. The other thing is if it only has two elements in the formula, this one has aluminum and it's got oxygen in the formula, then it is a binary ionic formula and there's no polyatomic ion. If it's got more than two elements, like we have nitrogen, we have hydrogen, we have phosphorus, that's three different elements. It's got to contain a polyatomic ion. Here, look at this. We have sodium, we have oxygen, we have hydrogen. If it's got more than two elements in the formula, then it has to be a polyatomic ion. And the thing you need to remember is the only positive polyatomic ion that you have to be concerned with for now is ammonium. All right? So let's look at some examples of how this is done. So here's three examples that we're going to look at. And remember, in the formula, the positive ion always comes first, then the negative ion. So it's good news, bad news, like positive, negative. So let's identify the positive ion first. So basically, you're looking for a metal or you're looking for ammonium to start the ionic compound. So this starts with aluminum. Al is aluminum, and that means the rest of this is your negative ion. And if you look at this, we have 1, 2, 3 different elements in this, so we know it has to contain a polyatomic ion. So Al is just aluminum, because remember, the positive ion is just the name of the element. And then here we have oxygen and hydrogen. So this has to be our negative ion, and since it has more than one element in it, it's got to be a polyatomic ion. So you find OH on your ion sheet. And what you're going to see on your ion sheet is you're going to see that OH has a charge of -1, and its name is hydroxide. So this is aluminum hydroxide. All right, let me draw a line. So let's go to the next one. So we look at the first element. It's got 1, 2, 3 elements in it, sodium, phosphorus, oxygen. So we know that this has to contain a polyatomic ion. Sodium is a metal, so we know this is our positive ion. So we name that first. So this is sodium. And then the rest of this has to be our polyatomic ion. So it's PO4, so you look for that on your ion sheet. PO4 is on your ion sheet like this. It's got a charge of -3. That's why there's 3 sodiums in the formula to cancel out that -3. And PO4 is called phosphate. So this is sodium phosphate. All right. So look at this. We got nitrogen, hydrogen, sulfur, oxygen. We got a lot of elements in this, so there has to be polyatomic ions. And you just need to memorize ammonium. Ammonium is NH4. So we know that this is our positive ion, or our cation is ammonium. And that means the rest of this is our anion. So we have ammonium. Sorry, that's not a very good spelling of ammonium. A-M-M, that should be an O-N-I-U-M. and then SO4. So you look on your ion sheet and you see SO4 is written like this. It's got a charge of -2 and the name is sulfate. So this is ammonium sulfate. All right, let's look at a couple more examples. All right, here's 2 more formulas. Let's write the name. So we got iron, nitrogen, oxygen, so it's got to contain a polyatomic ion. If it's got parentheses, you're pretty sure that this is your polyatomic ion. Same thing over here. So let's look. So iron is a metal. So we know this is our cation. Oops. So this is our cation, and then the rest of this must be our anion. So NO3 is our polyatomic anion. So Fe is iron. And then we know that iron is a transitional metal. So it's possible it can have more than one charge. And looking at your ion sheet, iron can be either +2 or +3. So we got to figure out which one it is. NO3. Here's our polyatomic ion, and we have 3 of those. So looking on your ion sheet, you go down it, you're going to see NO3. It's got a charge of -1, and its name is nitrate. So this is iron nitrate. Now, we're not done yet because we got to figure out, is this iron 2 or 3? So we know that nitrate is -1. We have 3 of them, so that's -3. So we need a +3 to cancel out that -3. So we only have 1 iron, so it's got to be +3. So this is iron, Roman numeral 3, nitrate. All right. Let's look in the next one. So Pb, that's a metal. So this is going to be our positive ion. And then we have here in parentheses, this must be our polyatomic ion. And so Pb is lead. And then we look at our ion chart and we see that lead can be +2 or +4. So we got to figure out which one that is by using our anion. And when you look on your ion sheet, you're going to see that C2H3O2, which is sometimes written as CH3COO, either way is called acetate, and it's got a charge of -1. So this whole thing has a charge of -1. We've got 2 of them, so our total negative charge is -2. Lead needs to cancel out that charge because remember, everything has to add up to 0. So we have 1 lead. In order for this to be 0, that's got to be +2 because 2 minus 2 equals 0. So this must be lead +2, and the name of that is lead 2. This is acetate, so we have lead 2 acetate. So you just need to practice with the polyatomic ions. Look at the Quizlet. That'll give you lots of practice. See you in class.